So today we're going to answer some very important questions about Maca because I hear some women will say that it didn't work for them. They tried it and it didn't help them. Or they may not know what kind of maca to use, like what type, what brand, and have no idea like if there's any criteria. There are some supplements that you can buy that you need, like vitamin D3, that you can just pretty much pick up anything and they're all fairly similar. But maca is not one of them. Maca varies extensively, and you'll see today as I go through this review what the differences are and what criteria you can use to make the decision about what kind to buy. It's not going to answer the questions about how much you need because that is very individualized, but it will tell you what kind to get. So this is what we're going to look at. We're going to evaluate effectiveness based on actual research. Two, avoiding contaminants like heavy metals, which are prominent in certain types of maca. So we need to be careful of that. And it will help you not waste money on products that are not going to be right for your needs because they're, like I said, maca is very specific for certain types of conditions. And this is something that actually happened to me when I first started on maca. I thought it wasn't effective and it caused me stomach ache. So I've learned that there are different ways of preparing it that will prevent that from happening. And that's very important. So if maca has not been beneficial to you in the past, then you might want to really pay attention to this so you know what kind to get. And then if you are trying it and it's still not working, you might need to change the dosage. You may need to take it for longer, or you may need more foundational support. So let's get started. Okay, so what are the 5 most important characteristics that we're going to use to evaluate the different brands of maca that we looked at? And 5 different macas and 5 important characteristics. So number 1 is the color. So is it red? Red is actually the one that we want to use for women. And within the category of red maca, there are also what's called phenotypes. And phenotypes are the little biochemical components that have an effect on the body physiologically. And there are certain phenotypes in the red that are better for reproductive health. So helping women get pregnant and carry healthy babies. The second one is for perimenopause, and they found certain characteristics that are more beneficial for women. Perimenopause is very different because your hormones are fluctuating between the reproductive period and your postmenopausal period. So between that, there are certain kinds of maca that actually help more with that. And then the third type is the postmenopausal phenotype, which is the one that I'm currently on. And I can tell you that it's very different than what I would have taken in perimenopause. Okay, so those are the first 2. The third one is it Maca Go? And the reason that's important is that there are a number of research articles that have been done with a specific type of maca called Maca Go. And so that one specifically has had the most research and has been found to be 85% effective for all menopausal symptoms. So that effectiveness is higher for certain things like hot flashes and night sweats, and maybe a little bit lower for some of the mental health issues. So when 85% effectiveness for across the board on all symptoms based on the Green's menopausal scale. And if you've seen that, it really does cover a wide variation from the physical and the emotional, mental. So if you're taking maca and you're not having all the effect that you need from it, and you're not getting the high level of effectiveness, it may mean that you're missing some of the foundational support that you need. Like I mentioned earlier, the fourth one is it pre-gelatinized? And this was something that I learned when I started taking a different kind of maca. was the first time I took it, it really gave me digestive upset, and I was never able to take enough to make it effective for me because it made my digestive system mess up. So I was like, I'm not going to mess with maca. And only to find out that I really could have changed the type that I was taking, and it probably would have helped quite a bit more. Pre-gelatinized is like being pre-digested. It's broken down in such a way that it maintains all the healthy characteristics of maca, but it makes it easier for your digestive system to incorporate it into your body. The fifth characteristic is where it comes from. And all maca is grown at high altitude. I think that part is across the board. But there are certain characteristics, even at a high altitude, based on the soil and other characteristics that have to do with wind and heavy metal toxicity, different things like that, that make this Hunan province the most successful in creating maca that is healthy and isn't tainted in some way and has the characteristics that we are looking for. All right, those are the 5 main characteristics that we're looking for. Okay, the first company that we're going to look at is Now. They have their products are fairly pure and have good quality, so I'm not knocking the quality. However, what I did find is that it only fulfilled one of the characteristics. Now, this is based on the literature that they have available, so it could not be 100% accurate, but it did not say anything about being red, didn't have a phenotype, wasn't Maca Go, although it was pre-gelatinized, and it did not state where it came from. So it could have come from anywhere. So that one only had 1 check mark out of the 5. What about the Maca team? Well, I have to say this one was definitely one of the better ones that I did evaluate, and it does come from the same area of Peru, the Junin province, and that is where the best maca is produced. It did say that and they actually have a variety of different colors that are good for different factors. Like the black is better for men. The red, so they did have red. They were pre-gelatinized. I did not see anywhere that said anything about it being Maca Go, so I couldn't check that off. And they also do not have specific to separate out what is better for reproductive health versus perimenopause versus postmenopause. So that was the things that they were missing, but it seemed like a very high quality product, and I was pretty pleased with. I didn't find one that had all 5. I probably would have gone with the Maca team. How about pure encapsulations? I actually like a lot of the pure encapsulation products because, like I said about the products, they're pure, and that's why they're called pure encapsulations. They're vegetarian, they're well made. That you're getting what they say is in there. However, it did not have any of the characteristics, at least in their literature, so I didn't know what color. It just was like a blend. Have phenotypes. It didn't say Maca Go. It says Maca 3, which I don't know what that 3 actually means. I think it means 3 different extracts blended together. It does not say pre-gelatinized. It said raw, so I didn't know how that would affect digestion. And it didn't say where it came from. So it did not get any check marks on this particular product. How about Navitas? Now, Navitas has a lot of raw and powdered bulk products that make it a little less expensive, and some of them are really good. And I have gotten like the cocoa from them, cacao. And so those are things that I found successfully. So I looked at the maca powder, and what did I find? Same thing as with the Now product. It did say pre-gelatinized. However, it did not tell me at all if it was red, if it had any specific phenotypes for different in different stages of life. Say that it was Maca Go, which is, like I said, the one that has been tested, and I didn't know where it was from. So I'm not saying that any of these products would not work. I'm just telling you that they don't have the characteristics that make it the most effective. So this is the Femmenessence, and this is the last one that I'm going to evaluate. And as you can see, it had check marks all the way across. And I was very excited to find this product. I've been very happy with this company because they do fulfill all the criteria that you would look for in a product based on all the research that is published and that I've looked at. So it does, this is red maca. Not only is it red, but there are specific phenotypes for, and I have on the screen is the post for postmenopause. They have one for perimenopause and they have one for reproductive health. And they're all three different in terms of addressing that stage of life. That's really pretty exciting. It's made from Maca Go, which is the one that I said had the most research that is published. It is pre-gelatinized, and I believe they do have a raw product also, but I do recommend the pre-gelatinized because as we do get older, our digestive systems do tend to have more difficulty digesting the raw maca. And it is from Peru, Junín. Now, one thing I did not put in here is that not only is it from that province of Peru, but they actually have their own organic farm, and the product goes from farm to producing the product. And they have other herbal products where that is done as well from other areas of the world. And they, it's only one that went from the farm to the product all through the same company. And that actually does say a lot, and that allows them to monitor the success of the development of that product and how well it's going to work. That they, and the way that the maca is dried in the field naturally, make it's manufactured, all have a very specific reason for making the product the way that they do and how it goodness of that product. So anyway, those are the 5 different criteria and 5 products reviewed. So at least you will now understand how to get your own, evaluate your own maca. So there you have it. We evaluated the 5 most important characteristics of maca for women in menopause, for libido, and all kinds of menopausal issues. And we gave you an example of 5 different and which ones were the best, which the top one being Femmenessence, and next the maca team. Femmenessence, it was the only one that fulfilled all the criteria, so that's why we use that one in our program. And if you sign up for one of our natural menopause hormonal balancing programs, you can get your own bottle of Femmenessence to get started. So click the link to join our natural menopause anti-aging school so you can get your first box, and we will see you in school. To like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel. Namaste.